Yellowstone Supervolcano, Long Valley Caldera, and 4 more supervolcanoes, threats to the world. Supervolcano is a popular term for a large volcano that usually has a large caldera and can potentially produce devastation on an enormous, sometimes continental scale. Such eruptions would be able to cause severe cooling of global temperatures for many years afterwards because of the huge volumes of sulfur and ash erupted. They're the most dangerous type of volcano. A supervolcano is capable of producing a volcanic eruption with ejecta greater than 1,000 cubic kilometers or 240 cubic miles. This is thousands of times larger than most historic volcanic eruptions. Volcanologists and geologists do not refer to supervolcanoes in their scientific work, since this is a blanket term that can be applied to a number of different geological conditions. Since 2000, however, the term has been used by professionals when presented to the public. The term megacaldera is sometimes used for calderas with supervolcano characteristics such as the Blake River megacaldera complex in the Abitibi Greenstone Belt of Ontario and Quebec. And that's where we're having our quite a few quake swarms lately on the East Coast. So that's the Abitibi Greenstone Belt of Ontario, Quebec, and Canada. Eruptions that rate VEI 8 are termed super eruptions. Supervolcanoes occur when magma in the earth rises into the crust from a hot spot but is unable to break through the crust. Pressure builds in a large and growing magma pool under the crust, and it's unable to contain the pressure. This kind of eruption is typically sufficient to cause a long-lasting change to weather, such as the triggering of an ice age, sufficient to threaten the extinction of species and cover huge areas with lava and ash. Though there is no well-defined minimum explosive size for a supervolcano, there are at least 2 types of volcanic eruptions that have been identified as supervolcanoes. Large igneous provinces, that's what we have from the Great Lakes area, the mid-continental rift that we talk about in the past, and massive eruptions. Although there are only a handful of quaternary supervolcanoes, supervolcanic eruptions typically cover huge areas with lava and volcanic ash and cause a long-lasting change to weather as well, such as the triggering of a small ice age sufficient to threaten species with extinction. Eruptions resembling supervolcanoes have been identified by the Voyager spacecraft on the moons of Jupiter and Saturn. The outer solar system volcanoes are mostly cryovolcanoes, not magma volcanoes. Theoretically, a supervolcano could be a cryovolcano, but none has been found within the solar system so far. Now, Discovery Channel highlighted 6 known supervolcanoes. We know that the one that we're most familiar with in northwest Wyoming, Yellowstone Supervolcano. We have the Long Valley Caldera Supervolcano in eastern California, which is a very high threat volcano. We have the Valles Caldera in northern New Mexico, and I've uploaded a video on that just today, how the Texas quakes have also jolted Valles Caldera and even Salt Lake City, Utah. And then we have Lake Toba in North Sumatra in Indonesia. We have the Taupo volcano, which is a supervolcano of the North Island of New Zealand, and the White Island surprising eruption we had December 9 a few months ago is not far from that. And then we have the Aira caldera, Kagoshima Prefecture in Japan, Kyushu, Japan. Now, can we predict when the next supervolcano will blow? The tipping point in magma that triggers explosive eruptions is discovered by scientists, according to Daily Mail. In 79 AD, Mount Vesuvius erupted and buried the ancient city of Pompeii beneath several tons of molten lava and hot ash. The loss of life and destruction was catastrophic, and it remains one of the most infamous natural disasters ever seen. Since then, scientists have been trying to predict when the next super eruption might occur. Now, a new study has revealed that by looking at the chemical makeup of the magma, researchers could predict just how explosive a volcano could be. The supervolcano forming near New Zealand, the supervolcano deep below the Earth's crust north of New Zealand, will have the power to destroy the world. But scientists are urging people not to worry, because it could be 100 million years away. University of Utah seismologist Michael Thorne has been studying seismic waves beneath the Earth's crust and says the ingredients are there for a cataclysmic eruption. And there has been a new supervolcano found in Hong Kong, according to National Geographic. Much of Hong Kong and its Victoria Harbour, including the rocky islet, lies atop the remnants of an ancient supervolcano with an 11-mile wide caldera. Chinese authorities revealed this recently, but even though the volcano has produced some gigantic eruptions, it poses no risk to today's millions of Hong Kong residents. It's been extinct since it last erupted and largely collapsed into the ocean 140 million years ago, Hong Kong's Geotechnical Engineering and Development Department said. The term supervolcano, first used in a volcanic context in 1949, origins lying in the early 20th century scientific debate about the geological history and features of the Three Sisters volcanic region of Oregon, United States. The Three Sisters are closely spaced volcanic peaks in the U.S. state of Oregon. They're part of the Cascade volcanic arc and the segment of Cascade Range in western North America extending from southern British Columbia through Washington and Oregon to northern California. In 1925, Edwin Hodge suggested that a very large volcano, which he named Mount Multnomah, had existed in the region, and he believed that several peaks in the Three Sisters were the remnants of this Mount Multnomah, after it had been largely destroyed by violent volcanic explosions similar to Mount Mazama, a complex volcano in the state of Oregon in the United States, again in the Cascade volcanic arc of Cascade Range. And in 1948, possible existence of Mount Multnomah was ignored by volcanologist Howell Williams in his book, The Ancient Volcanoes of Oregon. The book reviewed in 1949 by another volcanologist, and in a review, Byers refers to Mount Multnomah as a supervolcano. So that's news to me. I never even knew that Oregon was past supervolcano. More than 50 years after Byers' review was published, the term supervolcano was popularized and in a program by a television program Horizon 2000, referring to the eruptions that produce extremely large amounts of ejecta. The term mega caldera, also used for caldera supervolcanoes, and eruptions that rate VEI 8 are termed super eruptions, though there's no well-defined minimum explosive size for a supervolcano. There are at least two types of volcanic eruptions identified, the large igneous provinces and the massive eruptions. The large igneous provinces, LIPs, is an extremely large accumulation of igneous rocks. We have them in Iceland, the Siberian traps, the Deccan traps of West Central India, the Ontong Java Plateau of the Pacific Ocean, the extensive regions of the basalts on continental scale, resulting in flood basalt eruptions. That's a result of a gigantic volcanic eruption or series of eruptions that covers large stretches of land or ocean floor with basalt lava. The flood basalt provinces such as the Deccan Traps of India are often called traps after the Swedish word trappa due to the characteristic stair-step geography, geomorphology. And when created, these regions often occupy several thousand square kilometers, having volumes on the order of millions of cubic kilometers. In most cases, the lavas are normally laid down over several million years, and they release large amounts of volcanic gases as well. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.